Well, what have we got here? We have Carpo, or Agent Carpo, or Josh, whatever you prefer. I'm making a video to talk about videos. But I wouldn't be the first one to do that. But I'm not talking about videos in the sense of specific videos, but rather our behavior online. I've had more than a few people ask me recently if I think that people online generally have become harsher or meaner or less tolerant, more cocky, more arrogant. And so I've investigated this a little bit on my own, but as I'm only exposed to my own personal situations, I cannot know for sure. No one can know for sure if the world is really getting cockier or if the internet is getting meaner. I don't think so. I think what's happened is, over the last 5 years especially, more and more independent thinkers have been able to create things like YouTube channels and cheaper web pages and websites to sponsor their opinions and ideals. This leaves out the middleman for things like, say, writing a book, where you have to get it approved generally. It has to be taken up by a place that's willing to print it and a place that's willing to distribute it, stores that are willing to sell it. This means that the evidence that you're speaking in a book, not always, but generally, has to be backed up by a bibliography of some sort, and you have to have some sort of an evidence for your claims, or you're quickly found to be a quack, and no one buys your book. In the online world, it's a completely different situation. If somebody doesn't like your channel or what you have to say, they can just merely unsubscribe. Now here's the difference. When a bad book is written, people will write reviews about that book, and then people who have read that book can go and fill out a review. For things like YouTube channels, if a person, say, speaks their mind on a channel and says, well, this isn't true, or questions it, all the person has to do is delete the comment, block the person, and there's no recourse of action. Now, this is fine. Nobody should have to endure people who are questioning them if they really believe something they want to believe. That's not anybody's place. But when people ask me things like, are people becoming harsher online? No, is my quick and short answer. No, I don't think that people are becoming harsher. I don't think that people are becoming nicer either. I think there's about the same level of tolerance and intolerance in the world. It's just that we're more exposed to the other side of it. Now let me break this down a little bit so I can explain why YouTube seems this way to some people. If you go and you turn on the news, let's say you turn on Fox News. No, I don't watch Fox News. Let's say you turned on Fox News and you watched all their sensationalism of everything and blowing everything out of proportion and catering to the right wing. And then you switch the channel to NPR on channel 10, or whatever. You're watching public access, and you're switching between these two news channels. And on one side you have a very liberal view, and on the other side you have a very conservative view. These are two extreme views, but it's the same news. So if the news channels can't even agree on how to deal with the evidence that they're presented, how are we supposed to do the same? And we can't cross-check and reference and talk to resources. We don't have the funding to travel around and expose ourselves and talk to politicians like those people do. So why does it appear that people are harsher online? Well, this is where the news channel thing kind of ties in. We have two different channels, right? You have NPR and you have Fox News. These are just examples. Between there's a medium. There are generally channels that are, somewhere in the middle. They're trying to be balanced news. Now, I'm not opposed to NPR, but over the years of listening to it, I grew opposed to it because they were so biased to the left. I refused to partake in it. Constantly bashing the right-wingers, just like they do over here. And this is the thing. It's back and forth banter, attacking the other side and the other opinion. So, what about YouTube? Well, it's different than one news channel. You could say that the news has become more or less negative if you're maybe watching one news channel, but it generally remains about the same. On the internet, you might be subscribed to 100 channels, 200 channels. I don't know how many people sub to. I think I have like something like 180 subscriptions. Out of those, maybe only 10 people actually post videos. You know, most of them I just never unsubscribe to because they're channels that don't do anything anymore, whatever. As I slowly saw this, conflict arising in certain opinions and certain situations or subjects that I found to be useless or redundant in my search for truth, I unsubscribed from those channels and I moved towards something that would actually benefit me. The problem being that it takes time. If you're really into conspiracy theories and you've subscribed to 100 channels on it, you can't just expect to change a few of the top channels and not be exposed to the negativity. Now, with all the subjects that I cover and all the different angles I attack life on, I generally have a good review from people on my videos, and I don't mean that egotistically. I mean that my subscribers tend to not agree with me, and that's not what I'm after. My subscribers tend to speak their mind because they're not afraid of being attacked. In other words, I speak my mind for the same reason. I spoke recently on a couple issues that I know people probably got heated over. If I could just put two out here right now. I made a video about nuclear power, where I am in support of new, clean nuclear technology where we could reuse our old fuel rods. I could be totally wrong on that, and I'm glad to have the input I have from people, because I'm only basing my opinion on what I know, and to be open and accepting to other people's thoughts is essential in order for me to really have an idea of what I'm talking about. Another one might be Obamacare. Now, somebody said the other day, well, a lot of people have said over the last few months, how bad Obamacare is and how dangerous it is to the economy and how many other resources it's taking from. I don't know the details on this. I haven't read the hundreds of pages or whatnot of paperwork to really ascertain the truth behind how this is going to affect us as a country. And even if I did, I still probably wouldn't understand all the details. But there are folks out there who do think they understand the details. Let me break it down and why I brought Obamacare into this. It's because the reason I approve Obamacare is not because of the details and the evidence and the things that people pick over. My reason for supporting Obamacare is because as a person who lives in this country, suffers from chronic pain, and can't afford to get myself or my family insured because of the prohibitive pricing, I've done a lot of research into local free healthcare in other countries to see how it's affected the populace. A working society is a productive society. A productive society is a happy society. Americans lose billions of dollars every year to sick days that could be prevented by routine maintenance and care and preventative maintenance through health. Now, this is really the only reason I support it. It's because if one or two people are able to go into the doctor and stop a disease before it would have killed them when they were used to be afraid to go, people who don't have health problems don't understand this. And people who already have insurance through their businesses tend to not understand this either and say, well, people can fend for themselves. Oh, we'll figure it out. Or this is going to destroy our personal health care. They don't listen to the experts. They don't listen to what anybody really says about it. I'm not saying I'm right on this situation. That's not my point here. My point is that I have opinions based on my research, and I'm not afraid to express them. Now, if people disagree with me, that's fine. I think that that's great, and that's what makes it a wonderful experience online, to ask people, why do you disagree, and what are your reasons for particular disagreements? This is how we learn. So, when you find people who don't want to discuss the issues, who just point fingers or just disagree out of spite, then of course you're going to feel like the world is out to get you. You're going to feel like the internet has become a dirtier place. But I just wanted to put it from my perspective, because I don't think it's become a meaner place at all. I just think a lot more people have the ability to express their opinions without any fear of recourse. Now, I realized this about a year ago when I was really into searching out certain aspects of truth in my life, and I subscribed to quite a few channels that had controversial information. One by one, well, at least 3 or 4 of them, I would make a reasonable, rational comment, which my subs know I try to be reasonable. I don't go out there and say F you and you suck and try to point fingers. I tried to have a rational conversation and was blocked by multiple people. At least 3 or 4 big channels blocked me without even responding to a aid. So then I went back to their pages and I looked at their comment section and realized that every single comment was in support of them, had multiple thumbs up, and that there are people out there who really spend all this time creating these sock accounts and fake accounts so they can give themselves thumbs up and to go to others' videos and harsh them with multiple different people. And I find that to be, in my opinion, pretty disgusting. It's because I don't understand how a person could have the amount of time to do something like that. But people want to think that what they believe is the truth, and if somebody else questions that, they're going to cast them into the fire. And since we live in a time where people are able to speak their minds, then when somebody says something that really irritates someone, rather than ask themselves, why am I irritated? Is this true? Maybe this person's right. They just block them. They block them and have some other people back them up. So, in conclusion, no, I don't think YouTube has gotten harsher because I have gotten away from the people who are harsh. I can sense sarcasm in people's comments, even though it's often not intended. And if I could leave on one note, it would be, don't let yourself get into an argument or dispute with someone and hate someone online because back and forth. They're often misinterpreted, and we don't really understand what the other person's trying to convey. I've had debates with someone back and forth for, 10 comments, and then in the end you find out that you both really believe the same thing. You both really agree. It was just one angle or aspect or some detail of it that you don't agree on. So what do you people think? Has the internet gotten rougher? Is it the Wild West out there? Is it really? Because generally when I look at my subscription list, they're good, happy things. They make me smile. They make me think. But it wasn't always that way. To get away from the people, I had to get away from the, quote, truthers who claim to have the one and only truth, because if there is a one and only truth, I guess it's not worth knowing if it brings an attitude with it, like some of these people have. Namaste, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. Peace. So, and that's it. Sir, we just got a mask of Christy. You're from now on, my dad's slang, you know, I don't know. And they're all what?